I'm Meg.
Hi, I'm Chris.
Welcome to Plant Fit Meg. Today we thought it would be a good idea to talk about finding support when going plant-based.
Yeah, so whether you're kind of established in the lifestyle or you're starting out, having those people around you, or even if they're not physically there as support, online and other options are great. So we're going to talk quite a bit about those.
Yeah, so when I first went plant-based, if you're already sort of familiar and have been following the channel and my story, you might already know some of this, but I'll just go through it briefly. So when I went plant-based, I made the decision to do it overnight, and Chris was not on board with going plant-based with me, but he was also very supportive. He's a very chill dude, and he was just kind of like, yeah, okay, do what you want to do what you think is right. And so at home, we ate plant-based, we feed our son, we have fed our son and continue to feed our son a plant-based diet. And he came on board about 6-7 months.
Yeah, it was a little while. I kind of went full hog on full hog. That was weird. No, I kind of fully committed into it after several months. But I mean, the first few months or several months, whatever, that's how I ate at home. It was just if I was out and wanted stuff, I would at the time.
So I was very, very lucky to have a spouse who was very supportive and very okay with eating plant-based at home, and you know, it kind of worked for us, and we didn't have a big struggle that way with each other.
Food is food.
So that worked out really well for us, and we're very lucky. And I know that I consider myself to be very, very lucky in that, because I know a lot of people do not have that kind of support at home. But there are other ways to find support if you do not have that at home. I also had support from my mom, because she was very interested in eating a plant-based diet, and she has gone completely vegan and completely plant-based.
Yeah, a lot of your family has kind of moved in that direction, at least. Like, I know your father, he's pretty much vegan at this point. I think he still has some off stuff. And then Meg's older brother, he also eats primarily plant-based. Well, he was.
I don't know if I'd say primarily.
Okay, he was for a while. Let's say he's adjusted his diet to a point where it's moving in that direction, hopefully.
Maybe. He eats more vegetables.
More than he ever did
awesome.
Before, yeah.
And so does my younger brother. He eats way more vegetables than he did in the past, and so that's cool. So in terms of support with my family, my mom was already really on board and kind of doing the same thing. So we were able to share recipes and talk, and what are you doing, and how is this working?
Was this one good?
So we were able to connect a lot about eating a plant-based diet and going vegan, and we still do that to this day. So it's really fun.
Sharing books all the time, because, you know, there's a lot of support that way too. So they definitely do a lot of that. For me, it was different. Obviously, I had support at home because my son, he's really never known a different way of eating. And Meg was fully into it by the time I came around and wanted to be fully part. But my parents, I'm an only child, so I didn't have the sibling thing, but my parents, they still refer to us as vegans every now and again.
And that's okay.
Yeah, they're very good in that they never have any issues if we bring our own food. It's not like they're offended that we don't want to eat what they've made. And they often will go out of their way a little bit to make sure that they're making something that we can enjoy alongside them. And when we have them over here again, they're pretty positive surrounding the whole thing. But they don't necessarily understand it all, especially as things go through transitions and change. So they'll kind of wrap their head around one concept of how we're eating, and then we might adjust things a little bit, whether it's for health or other reasons, to being, you know, oil-free or whole food plant-based as opposed to vegan, and they don't understand any of that.
And that's okay, right? It's all kind of a learning process, and we're figuring it out together. And they're very respectful.
They're always very open to hearing about it. Which is great, and everything that we've been doing website and video content wise, they're very, very
if you're watching,
which is great. Hi. So it's kind of how our families played out, I would say.
So I'm historically a bit of a people pleaser, so I was a little unsure about sharing my plant-based diet with my friends and with my coworkers and stuff like that. But I was very lucky there as well, where my friends were just kind of like, oh, that's what you're doing? Cool. And they didn't have much to say about it. And I didn't pressure anybody. I didn't bring it up often. I would just bring it up if we were eating together and it came up naturally and I sort of had to talk about it. Yeah. So I think that was helpful with everyone just being like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Like we do obviously a lot of content for our website and YouTube where we talk about, diet and all these things a lot, really. But in our personal lives, we're not, I'm going to use the term preachy vegans. We're not out to talk about it all the time or anything like that with people in our lives. And I think in some ways that's a win in terms of people being supportive, unless they really want that information.
Yeah, and if people ask, we are fairly open to sharing that information. But there have also been times where you in particular have said, are you sure you want this information? Are you sure you want
to know? Because once you know, in my opinion, there's no going back.
You can't unknow.
You can't unknow some of the things I now know. And it's quite shocking.
Yeah. So whether you have support from family or not, there are a lot of other ways to get support from others when going plant-based. And in the beginning, depending on your personality, that can really be the difference between sticking to your plant-based diet or succumbing to pressures in your circle,
influences, whatever.
To not being a plant-based eater. So it can be very important for certain people to get support and find support. So we thought we'd talk about some ways that you can find support. So Veg Fest can be a good way to find like-minded people. So a vegan festival or a vegetarian festival or some kind of plant-based event where they have people, selling products or doing talks.
Yeah, demonstrations. Oftentimes you'll see at those events, and those can be actually really cool because they're not only are they educational if you're coming into something new, but it kind of breaks the ice sometimes with people around you where you can chit chat about different ideas.
Yeah, so those can be really fun ways to meet people. Now, obviously with coronavirus, those type of events are not happening as much, but there are still some virtual events like that you can check out. Anything that we mention in this section, we'll try to leave links below of different resources and different things you guys can check out.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, we're always hoping for the near future arrival of COVID restrictions being reduced to the point where we can go back to those in-person events.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
With online options, of course, there's a whole bunch of online communities and forums and chat groups and all of these things, which can be really great, especially if you maybe don't have those people in your personal life. That can be a support system for you. There's so many options online.
There are tons and tons of groups and different people that you can follow or people you can connect with. You can always connect with us. You can leave comments on our YouTube videos or on our Facebook page. And we love responding to comments and chatting with you guys, so that's always fun. If you watch other YouTubers or maybe you've tried a recipe from somebody, you can, reach out and connect and say, oh, hey, I really enjoyed that. Another good way to find a plant-based group in your area is the PlantPure Communities. So they're associated with the PlantPure Nation film, if you've seen that. And they have a pod network. So you can check them out online and find a pod in your area. So we have a pod locally. We used to hang out in person once a month and have a potluck, and sometimes they would do a talk. We didn't often stay for the talks, unfortunately, because we have our 5-year-old son with us. So we would take him home for dinner time, or not dinner time, take him home for bedtime. But now they're doing virtual meetups, so we get on Zoom and we have a chat. It's really fun.
Meg is really involved in that group. I'm more the type, like, I follow them on Facebook.
You're quiet.
I'm a quiet participant. Like, I like to check out their recipe offerings and things like that this group often posts out, which is really interesting for me.
Yeah.
Some people aren't online support community types of people, and I kind of want to speak to that because I kind of fall into that bracket. To speak for myself, I'm not really one to get on there and do the commentary and be part of forums and things like that, which is a little ironic because, you know, I help Meg with her online presence and doing content, but for me, I do find support online from these communities in the form of being educated, and it's really simple education. It's not like I'm learning all these crazy nutrient values and things that a lot of people have interest in, and if that's your jam, power to you. But for me, it's like, oh man, I want to find this really awesome recipe, or you know what, I find them just entertaining. Truly, like there's some people that I watch with Meg where I just find them entertaining and kind of fun people that are like-minded, and that can be really cool.
Yeah. So if you have a PlantPure pod in your area, you can obviously join the group and join in. If there isn't one in your area, you could potentially start one if you're interested in doing that. Or you can find one that maybe is not local but is nearby and connect with them. Or you can find pod groups online that maybe aren't specifically in your area, but they have a Facebook group set up, and you could join the Facebook group and check it out and see if you can connect with some people there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and talking about Facebook, there are a lot of other Facebook groups. You can just search, you know, plant-based and your location, or just plant-based in general. You can look up vegan or vegetarian groups. There's a ton of different options.
Yeah. If you're still in kind of the self-education phase of moving into the lifestyle, we watched a lot of documentaries. If you've followed any of Meg's content up to this point, things like Forks Over Knives and PlantPure Nation and all of these, they also have
Facebook
massive groups of Facebook and pages and things like this. And because those films, those documentaries have been as popular as they are, there are people literally from all over the world that you can connect with there, which is really cool.
Yeah, which is super awesome. There are other free online chats you can check out as well, like webinar style videos or interviews. So the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine has the exam room live. I like to pop in there every so often. They're on at noon Eastern if you want to check them out. There's also Chef AJ does a lot of interviews. I think she's doing daily, sometimes twice a day interviews with different plant-based people doing cool things. Everyone from chefs to fitness
people that work in medicine
to
and all sorts
doctors,
of stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
Professional
so that's
athletes
cool.
Sometimes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. There are also YouTubers who have live shows, so you could check those out.
Yeah, and you can actively participate in their chat group while the live video is happening, of course, which is really cool.
And ask questions and interact. We sometimes pop into the Well Your World live.
Yeah, there's some that I just find entertaining. Like I was saying before, or Rich Roll, I really like. He's a professional athlete who's also plant-based, and he does interviews. He's really expanded, actually, lately, and does some really cool stuff. So, bit of a man crush
interviews
there.
About life.
Yeah,
and other
just
things.
Life and philosophies, and he does a lot of really neat stuff. Anyway. Yeah.
We also sometimes pop into the Crocs in the Kitchen live shows.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah. So obviously we have a few favorites that we've discussed here, but there's many options out there that are free support online, which is cool.
If you're interested, there are also paid memberships that you can participate in. So there are live cooking show memberships. Well Your World has one. And I believe there are a couple others. The Giroudi family sometimes does live cooking demos that you can check out. Again, we'll link resources
Yeah.
below that you can check out if you're interested.
Yeah, I think we just wanted to speak to several to give you guys a real understanding of how much is out there.
Yeah, I think there's also paid weight loss membership, like plant-based weight loss if you're looking for that. Chef AJ has a group, and there are a few others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one last thing I want to touch on really quick with the support is people that are in your life, like your day-to-day life. And you might not necessarily consider them friends or family, like coworkers, for instance. For me, anyway, that's been really positive. I've been in workspaces that my assumption was there wouldn't be a very supportive atmosphere. For instance, I worked at a car dealership in the service department, and I essentially managed technicians. And it's kind of an ultra-masculine type of place. And I didn't suspect that it would be nearly as supportive as it was. People will shock you sometimes, which is really fun and cool. They might not, eat plant-based or anything, even have interest in it. But they can be like truly supportive to the point where, one of my work friends, he's like, oh, I went and bought a sandwich. I got you one that's all vegetables because cool. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It can be surprising.
It's true that people can really surprise you. And I didn't talk too much about my diet, especially in the beginning, because I just wasn't comfortable talking about it. I thought I'd be questioned and it would be scary, and I wasn't too sure.
Just awkward.
Yeah, I felt kind of awkward about it. But over time, people would ask me what I was doing because I had lost a lot of weight. And so people were curious and wanted to know. And you'll be surprised sometimes with people wanting to know more and wanting more information and, wanting resources and stuff. And so that part's really fun too.
Yeah.
Connecting with people in that way. And maybe they're not plant-based and maybe they have no desire to go 100% plant-based. And oftentimes people would say to me, I could never do that.
I can't live without X.
Yeah, but I used to be one of those people too.
Yeah.
I had never even met a vegan before I went vegan. And the vegetarians I knew, I definitely said the same thing. Like, what do you eat? I was so I didn't know. Like, I just it seemed so foreign to me, and I had no idea. So yeah, that's fun that people can surprise you sometimes, and you can support others as you come along in your journey. You can support others in different ways.
Yeah, you kind of pay it forward, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah, it can be really, really neat. It's interesting that Meg brings this up. Just a really quick anecdote is, for Megan, she lost quite a bit of weight when we first started going into plant-based eating style, and so people noticed right away. For me, it wasn't that I lost any weight.
Did.
I did a little, absolutely. Actually,
I guess not that people would
significant,
notice,
but maybe not as noticeable as much as it was for you.
Yeah.
It was funny though. The things that people noticed with me were they would say, "Chris, man, it seems like your energy's higher," or "Wow, your hair grows crazy fast," or "Your eyes are so vibrant," and they would notice these changes in my physical appearance and say "Are you just sleeping better? What's going on?"
Yeah, and we always
really cool.
we always get the age question too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, people sometimes think
sometimes
we're younger than we are in reality, and they'll be like, "Well, you must be doing it right." And, and it's like, well, yeah, we eat well. And people are surprised and surprise us often when they do want to talk a little bit about it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
It feels nice and supportive, and that's what this video is all about, really. So,
Are we going to address the hats? We should maybe address the hats.
Okay, we'll address the hats.
We're wearing hats.
Yeah, so we're wearing hats. Winter hats in our kitchen where we record the video. Seems a little weird. I'm going to be really straight up and forward with you guys. I'm a little lazy when it comes to hair maintenance, keeping it looking what I feel is presentable. I had dreadlocks for the longest time, and if you've ever had dreadlocks, you have to do nothing to your hair nearly. It's a beautiful thing, and I miss that a great deal. So Meg was like, "Hun, I'd like you to participate and give your different perspective on what supportive plant life is like.
Let's have a chat about this.
We'll chit chat." And I'm like, "Hun, I'm not doing my hair. I'm not."
And I said, "Okay, well, if you're wearing a hat, I'll leave my hat on too, because we were just out doing some groceries.
Yeah, we did a great grocery haul. And now we're still wearing hats.
Yeah, so I'm wearing this cool new hat that I got, and my bun comes out the top.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Pretty weird, but
it's like a palm tree on the top of your head, which I really like.
Remember, you guys can always reach out to us. We love to chat with you guys. You can leave comments below or questions, or
Absolutely.
maybe you can leave different ideas of finding support, and that would be helpful to others watching the video, or maybe even helpful for us moving forward.
Absolutely. And we want to be supportive to you guys out there. Like I mentioned earlier, my mentality on this is we're kind of paying it forward a little bit. We've seen a lot of benefits of this lifestyle ourselves. And this is a great way for us to, show our support. So if you want us to be support for you, that'd be great too, for sure.
Yeah. So like this video if you liked it,
Yeah.
if you got something out of it. Hopefully you did. Subscribe below if you have not already, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.